Alrighty, good morning. I'm Staff Sergeant Colin Chisholm of the Calgary Police Service Homicide Unit. Chisholm is spelt C-H-I-S-H-O-L-M. We have laid charges in a double homicide that occurred 26 years ago as a result of re-examining key forensic evidence. Investigators are asking for the public's assistance to identify a second suspect in relation to the case. On July the 11th, 1994, two intruders entered a residence in the 2500 block of 10 Avenue S.E and shot and killed two men. The offenders fled the residence, and the victims were later identified as Barry Christian Buchart, 26, and Trevor Thomas Deakins, 25. The motive is believed to be associated with the sale of marijuana from within the residence. In 2019, 25 years later, homicide investigators assigned to the cold case team reopened the file. Existing forensic evidence collected in 1994 was utilized to help identify a person of interest. Leonard Barry Cochran, 51 of Calgary, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Investigators are still working to determine the identity of the second suspect in this case. Police are asking anyone with information associated to Leonard Cochran from 1990 to 1995 contact the Calgary Police Service. Information can be given to the cold case team by calling the homicide tip line at 403-428-8877 or the CPS non-emergency line at 403-266-1234. Tips can also be submitted anonymously to Crime Stoppers. I can take your questions now.
Was the person arrested this week, interviewed, or checked out 25 years ago?
This individual came to light as a result of the recent investigation that was reopened last year.
So it was not on the radar 25 years ago?
He was not.
What was the forensic, I know laughing, that's a silly question, but the forensic information that you got this year, how did that tie him, or what was the forensics, or any kind of insight you can offer?
This case is still before the courts, and it's an ongoing investigation. We're looking for people to come forward with information in relation to the second suspect. So it's an open investigation, and for that reason we cannot get into details or specifics in relation to the evidence, and it is still before the courts. But we do need people to come forward to provide us with information that may link us to the second suspect, people who may have known Mr. Cochran from 1990 to 1995, and which associates he may have had at that point, vehicles they drove, that kind of thing.
Why is that 5-year span? Why is it a 5-year span? What exactly are you looking for there?
Well, the offense occurred in 1994, so we're looking at a few years before and a few years after. Anybody that, he may have changed associates after 1994. We don't know whether he's still associated to the second offender or not, so that's why the time frame is given.
Since 94, 95, where's he been? What's he been doing?
Well, we know he's in Calgary. We can't get into the details of what Mr. Cochran's been up to, but suffice to say, 26 years later, he was still residing in Calgary.
What does it mean for the cold case team to kind of crack one here?
Oh, well, it's great work by the entire investigative team to get us to this point. Anytime you can lay charges on a file that's 26 years old, speaks volumes to the commitment of all the members in the cold case team.
What about conversations with the family of the victims, 26 years and starting to get some closure?
The families were very happy that we were able to come to this point last week, where we were able to lay charges on Mr. Cochran, and it helps bring closure to the family for sure. They're very emotional regarding the information when we let them know prior to the charges being laid that he was arrested.
The second suspect, any more information there? If people, like you said, are trying to find associates, any more details there?
No, really, we're looking for the second suspect. We don't know who that person is at this point, And that's why we're looking for the public to try to go back into the early 90s area, determine who Mr. Cochran was associating with at that point, and hopefully we can gain some information and some insight into the second suspect.
Recently, have there been witnesses that you've been talking to from the 90s? And if so, what's their recollection? It's a long time ago.
Well, we always go back and talk to witnesses. Definitely, that's part of the process in any investigation. This file has been investigated several times since. This is the 5th overall investigation into this file. So every time investigators go back and they do talk to witnesses. Maybe there's something that wasn't shared initially that came to light, and generally people coming forward. Time is a huge benefit in a cold case investigation. Information changes, people's allegiances change, and as a result, time is often a benefit for us in relation to solving cold case files.
Final one for me, just, do you know how many open cold cases there are right now?
We have approximately just over 100. I can't give you that specific number, but we have 100 cold case files that go back to 1917. Okay, thanks very much.